First of all, I would like to thank Dinesh Mishra and his team of Meshmix Media for organizing this particular program out here in Belagavi. Secondly, the topic, as Dinesh has been saying, is about the quality. Today morning, I just gave him a call and I asked him what should be the topic for my keynote address out here, and he said, since we are focusing more on quality, if you can speak something on quality, that should be good. As we all know, India stands at a very, very defining moment in manufacturing journey. We are no longer a nation of potential, but a nation where the opportunities exist. And each one in our manufacturing sector has seen the growth in last 10 to 15 years, which we had not seen in last 25, 30 years. Everyone is growing. But let me ask you a simple question. What we want to be? Do we want to be a cheap manufacturer or known as a destination for cheap products? Or do we want to be known as a destination for quality products? That is a decision, that is a choice which each and every manufacturer, each and every MSME needs to make in India. Because I am very much sure the future won't belong to the cheapest manufacturer. Though in short term, we also speak whenever we get certain goods from, say, countries like China, we can get it very cheap. But then everyone questions the quality. They are not very sure whether the quality will be able to suffice their requirement, whether it would have the longevity if you are buying a machine. But if you see that the machine is manufactured in, say, Japan or Germany, it naturally gives you a sense of confidence that this machine is going to be good. The first level of confidence is always there from which country it is made out of. So India has to make a choice whether we want to be a cheap manufacturer or whether we want to be a quality manufacturer. As Mahesh has already said, India is a country of huge number of MSMEs, more than 6 crore MSMEs. We all know, many a times we have spoken about this figure, more than 30% of contribution towards the GDP, more than 45% towards export, employing more than millions of people, more than 11-12 crore people employed by MSMEs. And regarding exports also, today only the export results came out and India did exceedingly well, more than $860 billion of exports. With all the challenges, last year we were around 800, 820 and 860, with challenges like tariffs, the global war and other economic challenges, and still we are doing $860 billion. That is an amazing performance by India, and specifically my appreciations for all the MSMEs who are doing extremely well. But when we look at MSMEs in India, we need to look into what we are. We cannot keep that aside and think of growing. India is one of the very strongest entrepreneurship base. You go to any state, any district, and you will see huge number of entrepreneurship. The entrepreneurship has come naturally to all of us. Maybe lack of jobs, lack of opportunities might be one of the reasons, but we are seeing that we are today the startup capital of the world. Because everybody wants to be, the young people want to get into startup. They want to do something of their own. So that entrepreneurial spirit is there. Strong entrepreneurial spirit is there. Skilled manpower is also there. It's not that it's not there. We just need to align them. Yes, as we are growing much faster, there is naturally going to be a shortage of manpower. We'll speak about that a little bit later. Growing domestic demand. The demand domestically is also growing. When we say that we are a $4 billion economy, Last time I just made a similar speech in one of the events in Bangalore, and Mr. Ramdas from Ace Designer, he was there. And when I said that we are going to be, say, $6 or $8 trillion economy, and $8 trillion economy, and when we say 45% contribution coming out of MSMEs, he would say 4 trillion rise, and out of that 45%, if MSMEs need to be part of, you can see individually how individual industries are going to contribute to that. So your turnover, if you are willing, if you are ready to get over, maybe your turnover is going to double, maybe in next 3 years or 5 years. That is the rate of growth that every industry or every manufacturer is going to have. And as I said, if he is willing and if he wants to do the right thing. Government also, lot of push when it comes to Make in India. We have seen government is trying to help MSMEs grow. We have people from NSIC, DIC, there have been so many programs that Mahesh spoke about to raise and accelerate the MSME performance, the RAM schemes, everywhere in India. There are so many programs. We need to take the lead. But at the same time, we cannot neglect where our problem exists. Indian manufacturers are very, very inconsistent when it comes to quality, very high rejection rates, dependency on inspection, that is pretty common. We see that most of our industries are more focused on inspecting the goods rather than setting the process, rather than having a strong process control. We believe in inspection. Companies have huge inspection departments. If they have a quality problem, they will say that we'll add another one inspector on the line. If we are inspecting it once, maybe we'll have multiple inspection levels. Chalta hai mindset or jugaad mindset is very common to and it is going to be one of the biggest challenges when it comes to MSMEs. When it comes to MSMEs, we see that more relevant. As we go up or the bigger companies, it becomes a little bit less. But when it comes to MSMEs or small companies, this attitude is very, very common. So we need to redefine quality. MSMEs need to redefine the quality, because quality is not just about passing the inspection. Your products can pass the inspection. I see many a times we produce, say, 10 pieces and 8 pieces we inspect. We find 2 pieces rejected, 8 pieces are okay, which pass the inspection. Those 8 pieces we send it to the customer. And customer also calls us and gives us an award for best quality. Whether really that is the best quality, we need to ask ourselves, because we have already rejected a couple of parts at our own manufacturing unit. So basically quality means we very well know delivering the same standard every time to the customer when it comes to the customer, meeting customer expectations without failure, building trust so strong that customer never has to worry or look out for any other supplier. There are a lot of quality programs that are going on, like we know about the TQM or Six Sigma techniques and all being implemented everywhere. We have to build an industry where quality is not about inspection, but it comes out of an built-in process. So as I say, quality is not a department, it should be a culture in each and every company or an MSME to grow. So what are the advantages if you want to be quality conscious? Why are we focusing so much about quality? I would like to say here that quality is not expensive. Poor quality is expensive. When we are looking at quality per se, or the amount of money we want to invest into quality, the quality is not that expensive is what we will find. But your poor quality is very, very expensive, and it has a lot of intangible losses which you cannot put it on the paper. Many a time, as a MSME owner, we have a focus on putting on paper everything and trying to match one to one. But a poor quality and the lack of poor quality and the resultant what the company has to face are very, very huge losses. A very good quality, we always know, can give you a very, very premium pricing power. You can price your products at a very high. We know companies like Apple, we know companies like Rolex. There are so many phone manufacturers in India today. But I'm very much sure more than 70-80% of audience out here would be having an Apple phone. And that is priced very, very premiumly. A similar phone you can get at maybe 50% or even 30% of the price. But then you will still like to go with an Apple phone. You go for a Rolex watch. Anybody has tried to get a Rolex watch? Today the waiting period for a Rolex watch is anywhere between 2.5 to 3 years. You go to just as an exercise, you go to an ethos store in Bangalore or anywhere and you say that I want a model or a B model, a Submariner or a Daytona, or maybe 5-6 models are there. And they'll say, sir, you pay the money and we'll deliver after 2.5 years. Now what kind of business is this? You are paying 20 lakh rupees for a watch and they are saying that we are going to deliver after 2.5 years. That's why I say, if you have a quality, the premium prices come along with it. Export sector is growing. We spoke about $860 billion of export, hugely growing. India's target is more than $1.5 billion or $2 billion is what is our Prime Minister's vision. So who is going to contribute? Again, MSME is going to contribute. But are we ready for that? So if we have better quality, we will surely have huge export growth. Lower cost, your profitability will grow up once we work on the quality. Your rework, scrap, warranty claims, because once India is still not very much exposed to the legal complications of the warranty claims or the product recalls and all. Some of the big companies do have their insurance and all covering all these things. But this is going to be a next big thing and MSMEs have to face this challenge. Right now, your product gets rejected and you say that, okay, you send it back with a debit note or I'll replace it, and it is so easy. But if you are in the global markets, it's not that easy. You need to face the claims and they run in millions. They run in millions. We have to be very much this. And lastly, brand India. My company, we do a lot of more than 30% exports. And many a time when I speak to my customers, and many a times Indians are there who are amongst the team out there. And whenever they have a quality issue or we discuss the quality, and after the call, they just give me a call, sir, it feels very embarrassing for us. A single word they say, it feels very embarrassing for us that we always in our team meetings say that we should buy from India. But when there is a quality issue from India, we find it very, very difficult to face our counterparts or face our colleagues out there in the company, because we say India can give a good quality, and even if one job gets rejected, so they need to face these things. So how to build these good quality systems? As I said, process discipline is the most important thing. Increasing inspection or increasing more of inspection lines by MSME's way of doing it is not going to solve your problem. More to do with building a proper process discipline, operating procedures, visual controls, mistake proofings, POCAs and all. A lot are doing, but they're still, most of the time I feel that MSME has a lot of standard certification for the customer's sake, not for their own usage. We go to a company and they have all the standards in the world. But when we go on the shop floor, and let me be very honest here, we are all in the same boat. I'm not saying that I'm doing something differently or you are not doing same thing. But somehow as a MSMEs, we need to convert and we need to see that those certifications are of more usage to us than to our customer. ISO 9000 or 9001 has become very, very common now. Anybody, Tom, Dick and Harry is taking that. But are we using it? Is it of benefit to us? And is it improving our quality? Is it improving our processes? Is it improving our systems? Is something we need to focus on. Secondly, important thing is the manpower, the skill development. How much time are we investing in developing the people who work for us? How many training programs are organized in a month, in a week? How long they are focused on quality? How much focus is given on quality? Should be a primary focus area for any MSMEs. Use of data and technology. We see loads of data getting generated in MSMEs, loads of data. I don't see any other industry has so much of data. It might be in a written format, it might be on the Excel sheet, it might be on this. Until and unless we are able to integrate it, until and unless we are going to able to do an analytics about this data, we are not going to get results. MSMEs need to invest into data analytics. Until and unless those data is analyzed and they can give you some kind of reporting, then only it is of use. Otherwise, it is of no use. The other day, last week itself, I was speaking to one company in Bangalore using AI tools to predict your order positions. Because many a times we see our orders going up and down, up and down. So we have actually given them a work whether they can, we will put our orders for last say 36 months, customer wise, product wise. And can it predict and schedule for me and give me a heads on of a week or 15 days prior to the next month. So it helps my planning department to plan better with ordering the material or to producing so that we can deliver better. And as I said, data collection as well as analytics is very important, because if we are not collecting, we should start collecting, because if we cannot measure something, we won't be able to take action. We need to measure. Then strengthening the supplier quality is another thing, because MSMEs usually whenever we are buying certain things, we are looking at the cost. We have 4 suppliers, the person with the lowest cost would be given the preference. Or the person who can give maximum credit period for supply is given the preference. The quality takes the backstage. If our input material quality is not taken care of, I don't see how we can produce a better quality products that we are selling to our customer. And lastly, but most important, is the leadership commitment. If the leadership commitment is very, very poor, if that chalta hai attitude is with the leader, then it becomes an issue. The company will face the problem. Whenever we have dispatch pressures, we will say dispatch it, we will manage, or we will go and repair it at the customer end. So there should be no compromise on quality attitude from the owners, and it should percolate down to very bottom of your organization. As we know, a Toyota system where even an ordinary worker is allowed to stop the whole plant if he sees that there is going to be a quality issue. A worker is given that authority where he stops the whole Toyota manufacturing plant if he sees there is a quality bypass or a quality issue. That is the level of involvement that is put across to these people. When we come to MSMEs or foundries, I was just going through some figures in Belagavi. I'll just give an impact of one industry, that is a foundry industry. Foundry industry produces around more than 1.5 lakh to 2 lakh tons of castings per annum in Belagavi. And average foundries we have seen, they operate anywhere between 8 to 12%, some even higher. So I took an average of, even if 10% rejection happens with 2 lakh tons, we can see that there is a 20,000 tons of rejection per annum in Belagavi. Now this 20,000 tons with all the processes put in, with all the expenses put in, and that same thing getting converted to scrap with a net loss of 30 or 40 rupees per kg, you can just imagine how many hundreds of crores of rejection is built. So can't the MSMEs really invest into quality? And why they are not able to invest into quality is because this mindset of supplying at a lower cost. Because it is a very common phenomena that if you are supplying to a customer at a lower cost, you are building lower margins. If you are building lower margins, you don't have money to invest. And when you don't have money to invest in quality, because quality in itself is not a cost center. Quality is not something where you can say that you can invest in a machine and you can say that my production went up, my top line went up. Whether the bottom line went up is not the figure out there, but the top line can surely go up. I have a foundry, I put another furnace, my tonnage goes up. It is very much visible. But the same cost of furnace, if I need to invest into quality, it very few times is able to directly correlate it with the sale of casting or increase of my turnover. So I said that quality is not a cost center. But when we are selling the products at a cheaper cost, we are not building profits. When we are not building profits, we don't have enough funds to invest into quality. And it gets into a vicious cycle where your quality gets poor and then you are not able to sustain the business in long term. So basically, Indian MSMEs, if they really want to be part of the global supply chain and to be known as a quality suppliers, they need to invest into quality. And a lot of organizations like Udyog, Bharti or Chamber of Commerce and all, we need to get ourselves focused. I always see, because I am also part of a lot of associations, the role of associations has changed. With every going generation or every 10 years, maybe it is first to get people together, maybe policy advocacy and all these things are important. But when we are looking or speaking about becoming a global manufacturing hub, the local association's role should be more focused on the quality improvement, skill development, making MSMEs aware of what are the new trends, new market instances that are happening. As I say in Belagavi, we started Belgaum Foundry Cluster. Maybe it was 2004, 2005, more than 20 years, 22 years. What we need now is we need maybe a defense and aerospace cluster. We need an aviation cluster. Foundries cannot keep on manufacturing grey iron and cast iron and keep on supplying to the automobile manufacturers until and unless we are able to build products which can be used in niche technologies and niche applications. The industries will not sustain in long term. So, as I said, the mindset needs to change. Until and unless we change the mindset, the owners change the mindset, it's not possible. Our mindset of being a cheapest supplier, being a most reliable supplier has to change. Need not be. He might be cheap, but that quality is going to impact you for a very, very long time. Some of the examples, as I said, the Toyota example was there. The Rolex premium pricing example was there. The mindset. We are speaking about bullet train. You can see there is a video on bullet train on YouTube, that is Shinkansen, the Japanese bullet train. And flat 7 minutes, the whole train is cleaned. Including the chairs are put upright, the towels are put in, everything is cleaned in a flat 7 minutes once the train comes. Once the passenger deboard, the cleaning staff is given 7 minutes till the next passenger start arriving. Now that's a mindset. Until and unless we build that kind of a mindset, we are not going to achieve that. So quality is part of being a mindset, and MSMEs, I think, are doing amazingly well in India, but until and unless quality is part of our business strategy, we won't be able to achieve that goal or that vision of being a manufacturing hub to the world, because quality is something I have seen is not very deeply ingrained in our working style from our childhood to today. Because even as the owners, we have this mindset of bypassing a lot of things. I always tell, if you have I can give an example of a foundry that in a night, if my furnace stops working, what is my expectation from my person? That he should start it anyway, in the as less time as possible. But if something similar happens in a Western world, nobody, my furnace operator or my melting manager will not touch that furnace. He will call the maintenance guy. If he understands it, he will do it. Otherwise, he'll say, no, we have to call the company person. Yes, initially they might lose a day or two of manufacturing. But then they will do a proper root cause analysis, why it failed and how to avoid it the next time. And that process continues and keeps on building that kind of a mindset in each and individual company. When I ask my melting manager, he becomes the melting manager, he becomes the maintenance person, he becomes everything in the company. And he will do some jugaad and start the furnace, and next day morning I am very happy and he will come and tell me proudly, sir, I started the furnace in 15 minutes. And what will happen? After a couple of days, something else will go wrong because he has done some jugaad out there. And then I have, whatever the cost would have been, say 10-20,000, I will spend 2.5-3 lakhs and my breakdown time also will go up. Similar mindset is there everywhere. In personal, individual quality, in machinery, maintenance, everywhere we keep on doing that. So as I said, quality should be strategy, quality should be a mindset, because quality is our future. In short term, quality costs money, but in long term, bad quality will cost us our business. That's what I want to say and end my talk out here. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity, and let us hope that we build an enterprise, let us build an MSME in India which is known for its quality and not as something which is a cheap source country, but a quality driven country where the products represent quality. So thank you very much.